Welcome to this episode of the Comedy Defect Podcast. My name is Winter. I'm the host of the show, Winter Phonander, or as my website says now, Winter Dominus, dropping the last name because nobody outside of Ireland can pronounce it correctly. Went home to Dublin and Cork, and yeah, everyone didn't have a problem with it. So I'm going to just stick with the first name because the first name is a bit much anyway. Not my choice. But let's just stick with Winter because the last name just adds just a spanner to the works for most people, particularly in the UK. So yeah, this is episode 65 and we'll get into who's on this episode in a second. I'm recording these links in between packing for Barcelona. I'm going over there to headline a couple of gigs. And just do some more of the gigs, just do a few spots, enjoy myself. Doing a bit of travelling this year. Didn't go to the Edinburgh Fringe, just doing some little fringes here and there. I'm also doing the Watford Fringe on the 12th and 13th of October. And that is in the Hidden Bar at 6:30 in the evening. Same time both nights. The show I'm doing is called Squeaky. It's going to be just a joke show, just a bit of fun. About 45 to 50 minutes of jokes if you want to come down and see it. So yeah, I'm doing that. I'm going to be doing another 45, which could be a little bit more risky stuff. As in just kind of a little bit ruder. I had a bit of a moment this month, actually. After I'd finished all the things that I set myself to do in August, I kind of had to have a bit of time out because I burnt myself out. I had to have about maybe 4 or 5 days of just doing absolutely nothing and just sort of like being really aware of where my energy levels were. Whereas usually I'd write a list and I just hammer myself to get that list finished, every item on the list done. But now in the last 4 or 5 days, I was like, right, you know what, I'm not doing anything. And since those few days off I've hit my lists slightly differently. I've kind of done one item, had a cup of tea, sat down, maybe read something, then gone out, done another item on the list. But now it's kind of nice to be conscious of where your energy levels are because usually I just go, right, I've done that one, wouldn't sit down, just keep going, go to the gym, do that. I'd just be constantly exhausting myself. So now after that, those 4 or 5 days, I've been just reeling it in a little bit, just taking my time. Maybe this is what everyone else does. This is how everyone else lives in a sort of just, kind of chilled, laid back, kind of just getting stuff done. Maybe they just hide it better. I'm always manic. I went to a friend of mine's first birthday for their son. And I haven't been in a big crowd of people I don't know for quite a long time. I know that sounds weird doing stand-up, but it's not the same. Because you have to fully interact and connect and ask about them and be introduced or wait to be introduced. It gets so complex. It's such a complicated system. So I went to this first birthday party. There was this guy there I was talking, and my wife came with me with her daughter. I thought I was being really cool. It's like, oh yeah, cool, chatting away. And my wife looks at me and she says, Winter, you're like a collie. Is what you're like. You're over the top. You're like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. But in your head, she said, I know you think you're really cool and this person's just chilled out. But really that person's like, oh my God, this person's talking far too much. They're freaking me out. It's like a Labrador or a collie with rabies and they're trying to be friendly. It's terrifying. So like, I can't help it. That I can't see myself like that. But I'm just interested in people. That's all it is. That's all. It's not really my fault. It's just how it is. It's how I'm built. But so I apparently freak everybody out whenever I meet them. That's what my wife said to me. I was like, okay, I'll take that on board. But you can't. That's who I am. Everyone else freaks out. Well, what can you do? We're all different, huh? I'm sure there's other people out there that like that as well, just interested, like, oh wow, I just don't leave the house that much. I think that's probably what it is. I just got a brand new website done on my live dates, my fringe dates, the comedy on the canal dates will be on there for you to look at so you can come and see me live or come to the comedy on the canal because that is just going from strength to strength. We were gone from a 33-seater to a 50-seater. And the venue owner says we might even open up a little bit to get more people in. It's going great. I love that gig. It's great. I mean, it's only just down the road from me in Hemel Hempstead as well. The Fisheries Wharf Cafe. The next headliner we've got is Al Lubell. He's been on Letterman. He's been on all the big showcases. I remember seeing him on Dr. Katz, and I think that was in the 80s. He's been going years. He's brilliant. Very, very funny actor. Come see him on Tuesday, the 17th of September, 7:30. Get your tickets. They'll sell out pretty quickly. But this is episode 65 with a very funny comedian, Stephen Carlin. I first saw Stephen when I was just starting. Absolutely brilliant then. He's been on the Alternative Comedy Experience. He's toured everywhere. He's done about 9 fringe shows. By the time this has been released, he's probably done 10 or 11 fringe shows. He's brilliant. Very funny act. Very inventive. Very creative. If you haven't seen Stephen before, go and check some of his stuff out. Just went around his house. We had a pot of tea. Now, follow him. Check him out. Go see him live. He's very funny. And if you see his name on a bill, buy a ticket and get your ass in that venue. You can follow this podcast on Twitter. We're at The Comedy Defect. You can follow me at Winter Dominus on Instagram, YouTube, and of course, Facebook. If you want to donate to the podcast, you can. You can also give me money face to face. I had some money given to me when I did the Leicester Comedy Festival last year. People come up and gave me money in my hand. That was very nice. That was very nice of them. It was nice. It's nice that people are appreciating the podcast. I know I had a bit of a break, but it's come back now. There's a lot of podcasts coming. And this is episode 65 with a very funny comedian, Stephen Carlin. Okay, Stephen Carlin, welcome to the Comedy Defect. Thank you for having me in your house, man.
It's great to have you in my house. It's the first time you've been here.
It is,
man.
It is.
Why is it taking you so long?
I don't know, man. I haven't been invited. I've invited myself, haven't I?
Yeah. Sorry about that. It's been remiss of me not to invite you.
I did think that too, but it's funny. You brought me some tea, which is nice, in the pot that you don't really like the colour of. But
I've given you my favourite mug, though.
Oh, did I accidentally take it?
No, I gave it to you because
thanks.
What you've got is a Tommy Cooper, but it's a hamster, but done up as Tommy Cooper.
Yeah.
And I've got the Bates Motel, which isn't as good because that's Psycho.
But I do like the series. What do you think of the film, the new film?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen the new film? Oh, okay.
I've only seen the original, which I only watched a couple of years ago, like literally about 2 years ago. And even although I didn't know what's going to happen, it was still really good. Imagine you'd never seen it when it came out at the time. It would have been like great impact.
It's Hitchcock, isn't it?
It is, Alfred Hitchcock, who lived in Leighton. He was from Leighton in East London and started here in Britain, but then I think went to America because of the finances. And suitably warped individual, I think.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, yeah. First time I met you was at the Electric Mouse Westminster gig. Closing. That was the first time I saw you. I was over with my wife, and we were just like, oh, you're great. You were great then, And it's a shame that place closed down, isn't it? Like, it was such a lovely little room to do new material in.
It was great, on a Monday night, and I despite living in London for 17 years, I really still get excited when I see Big Ben. You can't see it at the moment; it's obscured by scaffolding. But I used to like doing that gig, and then coming out and go, "Oh, I'm in central London," because you can be in London for a long time and not go into the centre and forget you're sort of in that place that's on the telly. But I loved that little gig. I've met so many people there, like so many acts. So that was the first time we met. So it was a real
junction.
Yeah, I was going to say not social butterflies. The wrong phrase. That's a person. It's a butterfly junction.
Yeah. A nexus. No, I love that gig so much, man. It was just it just felt right, and it was just close enough to kind of like you didn't have to overdo anything. It just felt like just dropping it into their ears. You're just like, oh, this is nice. It just had a nice sense of occasion about it. The place.
Yeah, there's something nice about little basements are sacred in comedy, I think.
Yeah, sure.
And most of the best gigs are in basements. There's something like going down the stairs and you feel like you're in something underground and a bit illicit. A penthouse just doesn't do it for a comedy gig.
Calm Down a Roof. You've done about 8 shows now, is that right?
Solo shows? Yeah, I must have been, yeah. I'm starting to get the hang of it, Winter. Every year I go, now I know what I'm doing. And then next year I go, now I know what I'm doing. Last year I didn't know what I was doing. This year, I said that an Edinburgh Fringe, I was doing a little spot on a show, and there was an American act who was, I think she was quite new, and I was getting towards the end of the Fringe, and I just turned up and went, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing," and she was like, "Oh, really? You don't know what you're doing? Oh, why?" He was like, he was taking it very literally, but it's kind of true as well, isn't it? You never quite know what you're doing. You just get closer to knowing. Yeah, which is good about it. I don't think you. Yeah, I had one of those gigs on Thursday, and I thought I finally nailed comedy.
Yeah,
it was that good. And then it's like Saturday.
Too confident. You're just carrying it in every part of every cell of your body. You're walking onto the stage with it. Look, you don't know. You weren't there Thursday. That's it. It's the infinite Rubik's cube, isn't it? Really. It's like, it's constantly just shifting. Oh, I've got that side done. Oh, fuck, the other side's fucked now as well. It's a seesaw of misery. So I came to see your show last year, Adventures with Autism.
The Rise of the Autistic.
Sorry, Rise of the Autistic. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's someone else.
That's I was at the title. It should have been Adventures. Sounds like a book. I should have had a book deal. If I'd called it that, I would have had... it sounds like sort of Famous Five, or a kind of piss take of that, isn't it? Adventures with Autism. But the Rise of the Autistic. Well, thank you for coming in.
That was great. I enjoyed it, man. It was really good. And you did Opinionator.
Yeah.
And how was Opinionator? I didn't get to see it this year.
It was good. I mean, I think it's what I was trying to do was to kind of satirise the idea that we're all opinionated now with social media and stuff, and that almost in a way the opinion matters more than the facts now. But my opinion. I'm as guilty of that as anybody. So it is quite a lot. I mean, I'm doing a lot of it in club sets now. I mean, sometimes there's bits of Edinburgh shows you can't really do in clubs. Bits of it you can. I try to sort of scavenge my own solo show for club bits, but this one, I think there's a lot of it's gone into my set. In fact, I did downstairs at the King's Head a few weeks ago. I pretty much did the whole set from bits of this Edinburgh.
Oh, nice! Yeah, that's great. 8 shows,
at least. Let me think.
Yeah, can you name them? Do you remember the names of them?
Yeah, I do. Can we go backwards?
Yeah, of course we can. We can go anywhere we want, man. This is
so the Opinionator was this year. Last year, 2017, the Rise of the Autistic. Yeah. Then the year before that, TV Comeback Special. And the year before that, The Gospel According to Stephen. The year before that, Drink Carlin Sensibly. Before that, Gambling Man. Before that, Pandas versus Penguins. So that's going back to Pandas versus Penguins. That must be going back to 2012. And then 2011, Guilty Bystander. The year before that, the Podium of Unconditional Surrender, perhaps my favourite title.
That's great.
What was before that? I can't remember. Yeah. The one before that, I think that was the one that did that at the stand as well. I think that was the one that Stewart Lee liked. And then he came to the next one and he went, yeah, half of that was good. Yeah.
I didn't know he did impressions. And the Podium of, what was it?
Unconditional Surrender.
Podium of Unconditional Surrender. What was that about?
I struggle to remember what it was about now, to be honest, because I think they were less coherent in those days in terms of, I think they were more stand-up routines, really. I can't remember what was in it. Like, I mean, I've gone through them sometimes and go, oh yeah, that bit, yeah. Like, I remember I had a bit at the end which I was cynically tying it all together, and it was this montage. I was doing this film montage sequence, and it was all this cut to this, cut to that, and it was a sort of cynical device of tying it up, but knowingly cynical, and it sort of, I think some people loved it and some people hated it as being there.
It's sign of a good show, though, isn't it? Rather than just like, yeah, it's okay, isn't it? And just, we'll see another one.
Maybe I should start doing that again. I used to sort of have really self-indulgent routines at the close of the show, and I've stopped doing that. And now I just sort of end like more like the American style, where they have Netflix. Lest we dare we mention Louis C.K. or somebody, but people like that, they just sort of do it. The last routine is just the last routine, but it's not really tying it together. the show I did this year, it did have a strong through line, but you could do it in any order, and that was sort of, I liked that, of having it, a sort of Lego kit, of just going, right, I'll do this bit.
Like it can be fresh every night, can't it? Rather than
well, it's like, you know, the first time you eat dinner for breakfast or something, like you just think, or you have cereal for night time, and you go, I can do this all the time.
Yes.
That become my set. I've just gone, why have I been doing it this order? Because you just get into a habit of it, and actually it doesn't make sense. So I've got a sort of idea for next year's show in terms of the format, not in terms of the content at all.
So it's be 9. It's be number 9 now.
Yes.
And what's your favourite show? Like that was a favourite title, yeah. The Podium of
Unconditional Surrender.
Unconditional Surrender. Podium of Unconditional Surrender. What was your favourite one? That was your favourite title. What was your favourite show? Was it the last one? Is it always the last one?
I think in terms of the material I'm working with the last one, but I think in terms of the experience, I think the Rise of the Autistic, in terms of my experience in having the right room at the right time and getting good sort of reactions and stuff, I think that was the best one. But I think this year's one, at the moment, enjoying a lot of material from it.
It sounds like the Opinionator is more sort of like the thread of you, if you know what I mean. It's like, okay, this is the stuff that your material connects to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's slightly recalibrated me in a way, subtly, but I think it's maybe a slightly different act, and I think that it's sort of difficult for me to go back to the sort of older material now. I'm noticing that actually, when I'm on stage, if I'm doing the newer stuff, it has a different
teeth sort of thing.
Yeah,
different
it grabs them in a certain way, and I'm sort of really trying to open with something new now, because it sort of sets me up in a way. And then I probably sometimes, like last night, I sort of hedged my bets a bit. I did a bit of old stuff, and it didn't feel as coherent in a way. I think they're subconsciously going, "Oh, that's an older you."
Yeah.
And this is a newer you now, and it's.
You're cheating on yourself with yourself.
What's the answer? I mean, there's something to be said. I think material sometimes takes quite a while to gestate, and sometimes it takes a year or two to actually get really layered and the best it can be. But then sometimes I think you've got to kill it as well.
Yeah, that's it.
And destroy it, burn it in like whatever they use to burn crops. One of those
pretty good analogies.
A crop burner, just kind of
like if it bleeds we can kill it sort of thing. Yeah, the flame.
I'll do what I was actually thinking was the opening scenes of Saving Private Ryan, where the Americans burn. They burn the Nazis, where they've got these flamethrowers. But I didn't want to have people being burned in my analogy, so I made it crops. I didn't want to compare my material to the Nazis. I just felt that was not the right. Because I like the idea that crops are sort of organic, and I like to think my stuff's organic.
Maybe it was GMO crops. You know, those GMO crops.
I think it was an episode of the X-Files where some GMO crops would get burnt at the end of the episode.
Yeah, to save humanity.
Raised to the ground. There's no trace of them. People still say to me a lot about routines. And I forget them. Like I even go, I don't know what you're talking about. Like it's not like somebody said to me about the women prison officer. Know what that routine was? That somebody said that to me today. Sometimes you go, oh yeah, I do remember that. But a couple of people said to me the best routine I ever did was about a school assembly hall and the janitor putting out the chairs for the assembly, and I've got no idea what that was at all. I've got no inkling. And then I said to other people in the men, yeah, that was the best thing you ever did. And I've got no idea what it is. I can't even begin to remember it, and I've got no recording of it, and I don't have any notes of it. So I can't have done it for that long, but why did I stop doing it?
Oh man, it's frustrating, eh? It's like it's the best piece of material you ever did, you just can't remember it, constantly trying to get back to that point. Do you not record? You recorded it?
I record everything now, but I think I was more lax about recording stuff in the past. We didn't, Winter, in the old days, we didn't record stuff as much, you know. We had reel-to-reel tape recorders. It's not like this, you've got your nice little dictaphone now for this podcast. We had computers with massive reel. Everything.
Boombox. You saw the size of the boomboxes in the 80s.
You used to have a tablet of stone with a running order. It was just a nightmare.
Talk very slowly, so the stenographer can pick it up, right?
Well, the thing is, I used to have an actual dictaphone with those mini cassettes, and they were, you had to buy them, so you would just reuse them. Yeah. You would listen to the gig and then scrub it. Now we're all part of the evil Apple empire. We can just everything's downloaded for all time. Future generations are going to hear me trying out material on a Tuesday night somewhere. Yeah.
You did the Bring Your Own Baby gig today. Then.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, this very lunchtime. Yeah, a room full of baby hecklers.
Yeah. Did you put them down?
There's no point.
Strong.
There's no point, man, because they don't get it. It's come back at you. It's weird. There's always one kid that's sort of making a dash for the stage and is crawling a bit like a zombie towards the stage. They usually have quite a big gap between the front row, because if you have an area where the kids can sort of, I say kids, I mean they're like babies in arms, but they can sort of play on the floor. Yeah. But there's always one that makes a dash to the stage, and just they get to the stage, and then the mother always snatches the baby away. And I do wonder what would happen if they didn't. Would it climb on the stage? I kind of quite like that, because it would force me to improvise. Yeah. I have to be careful, because you've got the stage lights. If you step off the stage, you could trod on a baby, and that's a big no-no at these gigs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't want to kill the audience.
Yeah.
You want to kill, but not.
I'm very careful about not treading on babies in front of their mothers, because it really causes. Oh my God! What with social media these days, it'd be such a hoo-ha about it.
Comedian kills heckler.
Yeah. In the old days, you could trample on a baby to death and it would be gone in 24 hours. But now it's up there now, isn't it?
It's frowned upon very much now. It is very much frowned upon. What, like 12 o'clock, is it? 12 o'clock here?
I kicked off 12 noon. Right. I was on first, so I must have been on about 15:15.
Did you want to go on first?
I'd done it before. It's one of those gigs where actually they tend to put the more experienced one on first, because if somebody's not done it before, they can sort of watch how you'd. So the first time I did it, I went on at the end, because I was learning from the veteran of how to play it, and then that's cool. And it also works if you've got to go to the other side of London to do a podcast.
And also, like they just see the first act just as the tears and it well up in their eyes, go, oh, that's what you do. You just swallow your pride, just get through it, hold on to the rock. They're my jokes, I'm taking them home. I know these babies don't understand. You don't understand me, you don't get me.
I'm actually working the new market. I mean, they subconsciously are getting programmed to think of me as comedy.
That's true. You are basically so it's like when Billy Connolly kind of made stand-up massive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you're the new Billy Connolly to them, because they have never seen any other. Well, hopefully maybe they come every week. Do they? Are they regular comedy?
Babies, I don't know how often. I think the gig's every month, and I don't know what turnover of mothers and babies there are, because the thing is, the babies are up to a year at the most. I don't know if any of them are walking, so I don't know what happens when the babies get around a certain age. I don't know if you get banned from them. Yeah. And you go, get out, no toddlers in here.
Mm-hmm. That's it, over a certain age. Yeah. But then you have to go to comedy for kids, right? And then
once they're sort of sentient, then that's a different thing entirely, because then you have to tailor an act to the kids. I'm only doing the same. You can do anything, because they're too young, the babies. You can do your kind of raunchiest material if you want.
Could you do the same joke again and again, because the baby's memory is like goldfish at that stage? Could you?
I'm playing the mothers, but if it was just the babies,
right,
I don't think I would even do anything. I would sit there and do nothing, and I'll say, I'll see you in court if you want.
Yeah, that's it.
What kind of witness are you going to make? Yeah.
So what year did you start, Steve?
2003. Amusement Hot Starlet, along with Rod Gilbert and Greg Davis, Roisin Connaughton, I think was in it. They're probably the three biggest names that were in it. Andrew O'Neill was in it. Will Hodgson, Marek Larwood. I don't know if Marek's still doing comedy, but he was part of We Are Klein.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of good people. I mean, I hated the gig, but because it was on at like 20 to midnight, and we were all brand new. 20 to midnight. The only people that came to were people that couldn't get to see the show they wanted to see. So, and we were like totally inexperienced, all of us. So it was a tough gig.
Is that the competition?
No, it wasn't a competition, but it was sort of showcasing people that had been in the Amuse Moose competition. So it was a sort of different lineup every night, but it was like a sort of gang show, I suppose. There was somebody emceeing, and I remember Greg Davis, I think, emceed it a little bit, and there would be maybe 3 or 4 acts on. It was a really good experience, but I didn't enjoy that at the time. Well, you kind of knew. I mean, Edinburgh's quite. It's quite tough, actually. I mean, I know a lot of stand-ups that come from abroad. They came from Berlin, they've had whatever the little scene it's supportive, and it's just thrown into the maelstrom. I think you forget that when you're now. When you've had the trial by ordeal of, it's I think Edinburgh's tougher than the circuit. Like it's just because there's so much competition, and even audiences are so choosy and ruthless, and just when you're new, it's like you almost can't take it. Whereas now it's like, oh, okay. I remember this. It can be quite fun actually, but I think baptism of fire. I think that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. And then you just get used to that, and then you start doing your solo show, and you go, if you don't like me, there is nothing. This is it. It's like a restaurant that sells one meal, and that's like lobster and burger, but without the burger, right? If you just you just sell lobsters, and if you don't like lobsters, oh dear, this is going to be a long meal.
Yeah, allergic. So it was like, so you did that, and is there anything like for you at the beginning, going back, was there anything that got in the way of you starting stand up in any way? Was there anything you went, oh man, I was like, I don't know, I want to do it, but
there must have been. I think I remember saying is a relative of mine, quite a few years before, I'd like to try it. And he said, well, why don't you? And I said, well, I might not be any good. And he goes, well, how will you know if... So yeah, it must have been in the back of my mind for quite a few years. And I think it's certainly... when you picture something you've not done, I really pictured going on stage and doing an open spot, but I had no idea of the size of the circuit. It's a bit like thinking there's only the Premiership football clubs. I mean, I literally thought you could come down to the Comedy Store and just turn up on a Saturday night and go, can I go on and do 10 minutes? And they would go, yeah. Like that's what I literally thought it was like. I had no idea how professionalised it was, how structured it was. Because there wasn't that many stand-ups on the TV at the time. It wasn't like now with Live at the Apollo. There was like Jack D and Harry Hill and Frank Skinner and the sort of 90s lot and Joe Brand. About 20 people it seemed.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there may be about another 20 I've not heard of. How many can there be? Come on, it's London. There's what, 40 comedians? So I started watching a lot of stand-up in London when I moved here for other reasons. And I started watching a lot of stand-up, and I used to go particularly to the Chuckle Club. Do you remember that one? That was the London School of Economics. Eugene Cheese used to run it, and it was Saturday night. I suppose it's my model of a comedy club because it's the first one I ever went to, even though Eugene Cheese was the most eccentric compere. I mean, he hosted it in a way that I don't think it's ever been done before or since. But that was, I thought, well, that's what compares.
Well, I'm intrigued. What did he do?
He sang. He didn't really compare it in any sense of chatting to people. He sang a couple of songs, and he used to also. One of which was Chuckle Club, which I think he'd written himself, and one was Minnie the Moocher. And he was quite a kind of large guy, and he would also sort of kind of walk down the aisle when he was singing it, and then sit on people's knees and stuff. And it was sort of
sit in people's what? Sorry,
knees.
In knees, a bit like the old cruise ship style, where they kind of just crew come up, go, oh yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't a crooner though. I mean, it was. Had a certain, I wouldn't say punk quality to it, not in terms of the music, but in terms of the spirit of it. I think it was,
yeah.
And the stage was a weird shape, like it was an inverted triangle. Like, I mean, at the backdrop wasn't a flat wall; it was a triangle, and it was dingy. But you could, I mean, it was £10, and you could get into the club. Afterwards, it was like a school disco thing, and it was a cheap bar because it was a student union, and he booked really good acts. So he booked, like, a lot of people around the Comedy Store would double with it, but also he had a bit more experimental acts like Stewart Lee and Simon Munnery and people like that as well. So I think it was actually the best club at the time, and I always wanted to play it, and he never booked me because you had a phone. It wasn't, and you had a phone, and he kind of had to run the gauntlet of him. And he'd always say he never heard of you, and you kind of go, well. because you haven't booked me yet.
Yeah.
It was a sort of chicken and egg situation.
Yeah. That can be the case sometimes, can it? For sure. And and then it just closed down.
Sadly, they refurbished the venue, made it all modern, and it ruined it. You know, they had this hardwood floor, and put all these floor-length windows in and brightened it up, and it just. I've seen that with a lot of student unions. Some even in Oxford, they've done them really modern, and it's ruined the whole thing. I mean, there's something about a
dark, dingy
bar,
studio, because they're cheap drinks. The students want to go in there and have a good time and just not worry about the outside world, isn't it? That's what it is, right? It's like, I
think there's a certain spirit about these places. And I think when it's all done, like it just looks like a chain of something, then it loses any sort of individuality that it had. And I think, I don't know, can places absorb atmosphere over the years? They seem to.
Mm-hmm. Like old bars with like sawdust on the floor and like.
I mean, there's a bar in Brighton I drink in, and it's, if you actually objectively look at it, nothing like matches. If you designed a bar like that, it would be so gimmicky that it would be terrible. But it actually works. It's got like this threadbare carpet. It's sort of quite old. It's got all these old school newspaper prints sort of framed and stuff. But then it's got kind of modern stuff like kind of Space Invader machines. And then, but it's also got like a upright piano, and then it's got the local cricket team keep their stuff there, so it's got all their stuff.
It's like gradually evolving.
It's got loads of stuff that just shouldn't fit together, but it does. I think it's the sort of thing that, you know, when the O'Neills have all that bric-a-brac and try to do it, but it sort of looks contrived. But this is just like, we might be getting off the point here.
Go anywhere. Hey Steve, the great thing about this podcast is go anywhere, man. It's great.
Never mind comedy. I'll tell you what's wrong with pub design in Britain today.
Pubs today. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. What's the best place you like to drink in Edinburgh then?
Somewhere on the Cowgate or something like that.
What's your favourite?
I quite like Bannerman's.
Yeah.
I don't think I like the beer though.
No.
I kind of like. I quite like metal bars though, because I'm sort of not of that ilk at all. But I quite like them. Quite like their vibe, and I kind of quite like going into them.
Yeah.
I'm not in any way trying to be one of them, so I think they just.
Yeah.
I'm sort of accepted as a sort of.
Yeah. Accepted.
I'm like the one white guy that wants to hang out in a black neighbourhood.
Great. Oh, dude, whoa, this guy. Look at this guy in his suit. Oh my God, this guy's so different. That's great. That's great. Yeah, the law of scarcity, huh? It's the same with comedy, I guess, isn't it? You don't want to be the same as the other.
Well, that's the question. I just wore my glasses. I don't tend to wear glasses on stage, but somebody said I should wear them. They said it suited me. I always thought it would sort of stop eye contact a bit, but maybe it's distinct, and maybe I should.
Well, I think because I have glasses as well. Yeah. I don't wear them for the same reason that you're saying, and I think that sometimes when you have a visible weakness, everyone goes, "Oh, look, you know, you're completely non-threatening because they can't attack you." Like they can't find a dig. You know, they're like, oh, look at this guy. Look, thinks better than the other. You know what I mean? Yeah. In a suit, I don't like suits. You know, anything. They're going for anything at the beginning, aren't they? First 10 seconds. Yeah. And then and I think when I wore my glasses, and I'd like these. They're just normal ones, like the square. Like it gave me a little bit more likability. Because when you walk in and go, oh, Jesus, this guy's got fucking glasses.
You tell me that I'm disabled, because I never thought of it that way before.
Sorry, I'm just slightly, visually.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have the same thing. But I think that, of course, it depends on what kind of glasses. And those glasses are good glasses. Yeah. But they're not like you can see they're not kind of like the. I'm borderline going to dig a hole for myself and bury myself in it now. But you know, with those glasses, they're not like I know they're designer, I'm sure. Yeah. Right? But they're not the kind of designer going, oh, look at this fucking gobshite with like the DNG type thing. You know what I mean? They're not DNG, are they?
No. I don't even know what DNG is. So.
No, but like I don't know. That's just a brand that you pick. You know, whatever it's Gucci or that kind of. Because you see someone go.
It's interesting because I thought you were going to do a different insult. I thought you were going to say that. You can tell they're not, because some people would wear wacky glasses and they're not that, but they're a bit distinctive. Yeah, they're not.
No, they're good.
And not a character. I mean, who's worn? Daniel Kitson obviously wore glasses, and he's done well. Alan Carr.
It's a thing. We're going to start a trend now. Everyone's going to be wearing glasses.
Morecambe out and Morecambe wives, the two Ronnies. There's been a certain amount of
You've got to. And also, like, your stuff is quite cerebral as well, isn't it? So it really helps. I think it might help with the look as well. Like, oh, fuck it. Yeah, he's obviously read a book, cracked open a book, and thought about this shit. You know what I mean? It might fit the whole thing. But
I think it is. I'm trying to. I'm sure people mean that as a compliment, but I feel it's not. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like it's your fault. It's like you've left.
So people, because I think comedy should be funny, and I think.
Do you mean? Oh, sorry, it wasn't a backhanded compliment.
No, I know it isn't, but I just think that almost like the cleverness should be concealed, so it should just like a good ad campaign. Yeah. It should have a certain simplicity in motion, even if underneath it it's like devilishly complicated. I think
I'm just going to go with a shit analogy, like a duck. Like,
is it not the swan?
Simple on the top, but lots of shit going on underneath the water.
Yeah, but is that not the swan?
Okay.
Because ducks look too haphazard, but I think you would never accuse a duck of having dignity, but I think a duck is cuter than a swan, but it doesn't have. A swan's a bit more high status. I can see why you're not allowed to eat them.
That's true. Swan is definitely more high status. And
do you want more tea?
Oh yeah, please, man. Thanks.
It's funny because we worried about not having the tea poured during the podcast, and actually in the end it doesn't really.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. We do what we need.
It sounds contrived though, like we're just trying to be normal, like you people. We just drink tea like you.
Yeah, like everyone else. It sounds like everyone else. Yeah,
and just pretending to be normal.
And it's unfortunately the milk is obviously it's not soy milk.
All right,
it's proper milk, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you want soy?
No, I didn't. I was going to go with. I was actually going to lie there a second ago. I was saying actually it's soya vegan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I was like, no, I can't. I'm going to be honest.
It's semi-skimmed, which I imagine is probably the most popular milk in Britain now. I don't have any stats to back that up, but if I was guessing, if I was on the chase and they're saying which is the best, most popular, I reckon it's semi-skimmed.
Is Chase the same as Pointless?
No, it's a different thing.
Is it okay? So
Paul Sinner's on the chase and he's not on Pointless.
Okay. No, I know that. But
I think they're fulfilling similar demographics. I think that's the question. Yeah. I think from a marketing point of view, they went, who are these fuckers sitting at home at this time of the day? They want a quiz. I think it's a similar demographic, but it's not the same rules. I think Pointless is about more of a survey thing, isn't it? It's a bit like an inverted Family Fortunes. You've got to guess how many people didn't get the answer to something.
Mm-mm.
Whereas the chase is a more straightforward. What's the answer to this?
Okay, right, simple. But I think the green milk is probably the most common. I mean, I don't want to.
Oh, sorry, but I was saying semi-skimmed. Although this is skimmed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wrong, but I was actually saying that semi-skimmed, which you're right, is the green.
I'm glad we agree. I'm glad. I was going to be a really awkward rest of this podcast otherwise.
Yeah. No, I sort of lied. I lied to you there that I was saying that I was giving you semi-skimmed, and in fact it is skimmed. But I still stick to semi-skimmed being the most popular in Britain. That's my final. Why is that not like a question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Like,
it should be. It should be.
But is there a fourth one? Because there's skimmed, semi-skimmed, full fat, and then it would need to be.
And they're 1% as well, isn't it? Okay. The purple one that's 1%, isn't it?
Right,
everyone goes fucking purple. There must be something weird fucking shit in that. I don't know why that's for it. I mean,
Coke Zero. That.
Yeah, that could be you're right. It could be the Coke Zero of the milk world, the dairy world.
Here's a question for you, because one time I was in Edinburgh and I was walking up the Royal Mile eating an ice cream cone, and I bumped into Josie Long and she went, "Oh, I didn't think you'd be the kind of person that would eat an ice cream cone." And I thought, do I have a don't eat an ice cream cone vibe about me? And should I do it to confound expectations? Like if I had turned up with an ice cream cone and didn't offer you one, would that have helped this podcast or made it worse?
I did. Well, do you know what I think that I would have been like? First of all, like it depends on what kind of like an actual 99 cone with that would be. I would just be full of questions. I'd be like, where the fuck did you get that ice cream cone? How come you're still eating it now? I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying it, but it would be right away, But it's sort of like it would have been I'm like, well, how have you managed to hold off just not eating that before the podcast started? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think I'd get a 99 because I think it's been done, and I think also it's the sort of thing I think Peter Kay would do. I think that would be more his sort of. Well, if he had an ice cream, I imagine it would be a 99.
It would have to be.
I think it'd be a cornetto.
Yeah. The cornetto would be fine though because you can have them in your freezer. You go, and you get bound to have like the multi-pack.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's got to be a fresh.
Because that would be like, do you have one of these machines at home? I mean, who cleans that? Do you clean that? I mean,
Mr. Whipping Machine. Do you think you can get them at home?
Oh, you can. Yeah, you must be able to get one of those. Yeah, you can get like Ice Maker now, can't you? So you must be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine how you have to clean them, but you think somebody would have them. That would be the end for me. If I had an ice cream machine in my house, I wouldn't leave it. I'd become like Marlon Brando. I'd become fat and tragic, and I would
incredibly talented though.
Yeah, I would. I'd become increasingly difficult to work with. Be getting offered like a lot of money. I would like that to be actually just do 1 gig a year and get paid an extraordinary amount of money for it, and then be really difficult.
Didn't they? Didn't they in the what was it that the last film he did? The one he was massive. He was massive, and they just like shot him from like various angles because he was so fat then. That they were like, look, we just can't have this guy fully on camera because we can't let anyone see how fat he is. What was that? That was Apocalypse Now, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was obscured in the. I think that was the start of the fatness. I think that was because that would have just been after The Godfather. I think it was sort of mid-70s or something, maybe late 70s. But yeah, he was in darkness a lot of the time.
First starting out, were you as terrified as everybody else, or were you like did you have any background in performance or of any kind?
Yeah, I was terrified as everyone else, but I did have background. I'd done a bit of music, and I'd performed music. I'd played the trumpet at school, and so I had done like sort of Christmas carol concerts, and I'd done sort of used to get these solo competitions, and they were kind of nerve-wracking. I think they were worse in a way actually. In comedy, although you can really fuck up on a trumpet. I know you can kind of you can fuck up on a stand-up as well, but it's sort of in a way there's different tunes you can play in stand-up. But if you're doing a trumpet, you're meant to do that one tune. I mean, we used to. My Saturdays would be these bizarre solo competitions where you would go to some town. They would usually be held in like a school on a Saturday, and you'd get drawn a number, and because it was all anonymous, and the adjudicator would be behind this little curtain, and he'd have a whistle, and he'd blow it when he was ready for the next person. Then you play a bit, and then you got marked, and there was winners announced. And I think the most I've got a silver medal somewhere from second place. I think I played something from Handel. The water music or something, or the fireworks music. I think so. I had that, but that was in the past. But in terms, and I'd done the odd bit of play, but I never really found plays nerve-wracking. I don't know if it's the sort of that you're part of a team, or there's not this. I don't think there's the same pressure, is there? I mean, I'm not saying there's not amazing actors, but the judgment of stand-up and the potential to fail, I think, is greater than a play. I think, so I've never really felt. I don't want to denigrate acting, but I've never felt the same pressure.
You've got someone to work with. They can carry you. It's your line. They can look in your eye and go get on with it.
I mean, a bad play is still a play, but bad comedy is not comedy. It's not.
It's just a waste of everyone's time, isn't it? That's what it is, sort of thing. Isn't it? That's what a bad comedy is.
Yeah. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, I think when you're on fire, it's like you've got such nuanced control of the audience. You can just tilt them this way and that and do everything, and time slows down. You've got so much thinking time, and then when it's going badly, it's like none of the controls are connected to the plane. It's like pull this lever and nothing happens. And
we're going
usually
down
works. This usually works. I know. Yeah.
Did you get a tattoo of a trumpet so that they can always be with you when you're on stage at the beginning? You're like, okay.
No, somebody asked me that. Stewart Lee used to make a thing of writing his notes on his hand, and I think one of his DVDs is actually that's the menu.
Oh, right.
For the DVD menus is thumb in his hand, and somebody actually asked me, "Has he got a tattoo in his hand?" And I'm like, "Do you think he got a tattoo of bad handwriting?" So no, I never had any tattoos. I may get one when I'm 50.
It's time, isn't it? Fuck it, what's the worst can happen then?
Exactly.
Septicemia.
Well, I think they're a lot better now. I think some of the high-end tattoos are pretty good now. When I was kind of a kid, it was always guys that had tattoos on their forearms, and it was always sort of a scroll effect with like a dagger and a heart and some woman's name.
Or like a like Wonder Woman type looking female on your arm, like that kind of thing, or snakes and skulls, that kind of.
I don't think there was anything even that advanced. I mean, it was basic stuff. I mean, I hadn't really moved on from the Navy years, I think. But that's you just messaging me to say that you're going to be 10 minutes late.
Oh, great! I'm glad my phone has finally got a little bit more battery in it. But so yeah, you've done a bit of performance in that when you were a kid. Yeah. Do you remember the hardest thing that you had to overcome in doing stand up?
I think I didn't. I used to hate comparing. It was just for me. I couldn't. Some people preferred it. I thought they were mad. I thought at least with a set, you've got your material, you've got your jokes, you've got your routines. But the idea of just bantering to an audience without a script, that was difficult. And I mean, it sounds. I fundamentally wasn't interested in them. Like I was going, what do you do for a living? I didn't care. And I didn't really people. I didn't really. If somebody was in IT, I'm like, good for you. I don't really want to mock you for it. We need computers, but I didn't really, have anything to say to them really.
But that can work too, can't it? That kind of like that, because you're going the other way, isn't it?
I don't know if it can work. Comparing though, you've got to be careful, because I think you've got to be more neutral as a personality in comparing, because you're the guide for the whole evening, and you've got to bring everybody in, and you've got to be everyone's friend, and you're going to get different acts, and they're going to like some more than others, but you've got to be the constant that holds it together. And I think you can't be too stylised when you're doing it. I mean, I like it. I like sort of not having any plan when I go on and just chatting to people. Yeah, absolutely hated it. And then I kind of realised doing it, I've never really chatted to people before. Like, I realised that, and just in life, I just sort of did monologues to people. I don't think I ever really had conversations with people. I think that was the thing.
Okay. So, like, when I was younger, right, I'd find that I would, before it's like going to school or something like that, I'd find that I would go, right, okay, what I'm going to talk about today. Yeah. And I go through some sort of an actual routine. Yeah. Then I go, okay, right, I'll fucking talk about this, and this. Yeah. And then you go see because I was a bit mental. Yeah. You go see the people at the outside the courthouse where it was outside the school. You'd be like, I'm like, all right, okay, now this is what I'm going to talk about. Don't know what the fuck. I'd just go fucking full energy at it, and you'd have little callbacks within your little bit, but you didn't know you'd have callbacks. But because of you had a bit of a captive audience there, because they couldn't fucking escape because they had to go to school in a minute. Yeah. And so did you do the same thing? Like, did you, before you went to school, say hello? All right, okay, that's that bit down. And then
I used to script phone calls, and I was terrified of the phone, really, of speaking to people I didn't know on it. I think because there's not any of the visual cues, you can't see a person. Yeah. And if I was phoning up some stranger for something, it was like I'd have to write the script, which is completely insane because you don't know what they're going to say. It was like sitcoms. I had so many phone calls that would go badly wrong. I remember phoning up. I was before I did stand-up, but I thought I wanted to be an actor. And I remember getting the phone book in Scotland. It was like in Edinburgh, going through all the theatre companies and just phoning them up, seeing if I could join or something. But they were all together, so it was like amateur theatre companies and also like professional ones. And I remember just getting in such a mess with this woman because she was really offended because it was a professional theatre company and I thought it was some amateur thing, and then she got really offended and it got really out of nothing, it got so heated.
And I guess the awkwardness as well of like, this conversation isn't going the way I imagined it to go, and you're like, and
I think also phone calls were more of an event years ago. I mean, now we've got mobiles and you just phone up somebody and go, oh, what was that thing again? Who was the guy who was in that film? Yeah, right, see you later. I don't think I think we use phones more now. I think we make more phone calls. It doesn't matter as much. But it was quite an event to phone up a landline. There's something more strangely official about it. And I think particularly because the person doesn't necessarily where the phone is. You don't get your mobile on you, so you have to leave a room to go to the phone, and so you already think this is important. It was a thing, or maybe just in my head. That's how it seemed. It seemed to be. It was important. You had to nail it, and I think the worst was you have to ask a girl out and you had to phone her up. That was not like being able to send a text message or something.
But like now when the phone rings, a landline rings at home, it's like the furniture's making a sound, isn't it? It's like, what the fuck, the furniture is talking to you, it feels like, isn't it? Because usually it's your mobile, isn't it now?
Yeah,
Like, oh, just mobile, what the fuck is that? Oh, that's the landline that we never use. Who the fuck is ringing? Some guy from telesales. But that, I think this gift that I guess you have and that we both have, that you try to script conversations before they actually happen, great for stand-up or telesales, isn't it? So that's what it is. You got a script, come on, you did this when you were young, that was it, so...
Well, I mean, I was able to work out socially, like a non sequitur can be quite funny and be quite entertaining if you do it right, but it's not really being in a conversation with people, is it? It's not listening. And I was just reading this book about psychology, and apparently you're not meant to do that. Apparently you are meant to listen to people and like respond to what they say. Apparently.
Otherwise you're just waiting for your turn to talk, aren't you? That's what you're doing.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody in my family does really listen. So I think that's like, there's just, if you go home for Christmas or whatever, there's just 5 different conversations going on at once.
Right.
Nobody's really listening. I think Michael Frayn used it. He wrote the script for Clockwise, the film with John Cleese, and there's a wonderful bit in it with these 3 old women in a car, and none of them are having the same conversation. And I think that's kind of what my family's like. It's not really a conversation. It's like a broadcast. You know, it's a transmitting signal just to go like I'm still alive.
Occasionally interjected with Monopoly or Trivial Pursuit. That's basically what Christmas is like.
I didn't also realise before I left home that you don't need to have a set number of anecdotes, because I think our family had like 5 anecdotes, and I think you can actually almost have infinite anecdotes if you want to.
Yeah.
You don't need to have 5, because it suggests that you've only got, not much has happened. Now, we had these stories in our family, they just got told, they got wheeled out at every kind of social event, and I think the fact they were just repeated gave them some value that they didn't actually have. You know what I mean? They became like rituals in a way, like Holy Scripture. These anecdotes that got wheeled out. Maybe that's what made me want to be a writer. Just go, we need to get beyond this.
Yes, there's a turn over some new material. Yeah. Do you think that those 5 anecdotes that your family have?
Yeah.
Do you think that the reason why they say them so much is that they're the only ones that people can agree what time it was, what day it was, and who was there? Because you start a new anecdote, everyone goes, no, it's like you're in a writer's room when you're doing it, and you're all sitting there kind of going, oh, it was a Tuesday. No, it wasn't a Tuesday, it was a Wednesday. And they go, oh, and then you were there. No, I wasn't there. He was there.
I think they're the ones that happen to come out right. You know how they also find, my mother told me something recently, a story, and it was terrible at the end. And I went, what was the point of that? And she goes, well, that's what happened. And I'm like, but it wasn't worth repeating. And I just think that, I mean, you can change reality to make it a better story, but I don't think you can do that. So I think the story had to happen in a way that was relatively
palatable.
Yeah. So there wasn't that many.
So they're all terrible at the end. These are just the sort of the G-rated 5 anecdotes that everyone goes, oh, this is fine. This is not going to cause any upset or make anyone sad. It's Christmas.
I don't know how it would to be, right? I mean, the thing is, you don't want to be rude about your family, but I think the conversation was dreadful. I mean, and they would have, my mum's dad's friends would all come round, and they'd all just agree on everything, and it would drive me round the bend. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, this. It would always be. I think Maggie Thatcher was Prime Minister at the time, so that was our starting off point. You know, and it was just like, but they all kind of it was a consensus, and I think it's just. I thought that's what adults did. It sounds really shit being an adult. Like, you sit around. No wonder you drink. You sit around. You come to you all have a drink, you smoke, and you kind of tell the same stories, and then you agree with each other, and then you'd meet adults who could actually were conversationalists. And go, wow, you're Oscar Wilde. I mean, what?
So did you want to be an actor? What acting did you do? Did you manage to get into anything fun?
I did bits at university. I was in like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I wrote for the student review, but I wasn't in it. But it wasn't my style of comedy. But I suppose that was the first experience of writing to a style that wasn't yours. And then I was in the sort of youth theatre, and where I did a few things, various plays and stuff. So I never had that stage fear as such. I knew I could go on stage and perform, but I think stand-up took it to a different level, because particularly when you've gone from open spots to then going into professional clubs where people have paid money and they expect you to be good, and the standards you've been judged by were just like suddenly, and people were, if they don't like it, they're going to let you know, and it's a totally different ball game. I think it's a great training, though, isn't it? I mean, I just look at sort of other performers now, and particularly when I see TV presenters sometimes doing stuff live and going, "Oh, they're terrible." Like, you know, kind of big names. I've seen Edinburgh Fringe do more like TV people, not comedians, but I mean people like presenters and then doing stuff. And you think you're just used to doing like a 2-minute piece to camera, aren't you? You can't sustain an hour.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you improv as well, or you say about the compare thing? That's as far as the improv. You just want a script, and that's what you want to stick to, right?
No, I do improv about it. Yeah. I mean, I also like between thinking the thing is to nail a routine every time, and then actually I go for periods. Sometimes I improv a lot, and then it starts getting too much, and it gets too loose. Yeah. I mean, I love things like Joke Thieves, and I love things like a set list where there is no
net.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I really, it's kind of my favourite thing actually, more than the stand-up. But I think there's a discipline of making a particular routine work for different audiences and different nights. It depends what mood I'm in as well. I think sometimes you want to play with them, and sometimes.
Just want to get it over with. I mean, you know, it's true though, isn't it? If some guys go, "Oh, these guys are a fucking bunch of fucking," and everyone's going up there giving their best stuff, and they're just sometimes the audience just goes, "No, they've already decided." Do you ever find that?
Yeah, I mean, that sometimes happens. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. Maybe just do your worst stuff.
Don't try.
I don't know what to do because I think maybe they don't like the comedians on.
Maybe,
but then sometimes I think. I have seen it sometimes where for some reason the compare doesn't handle it right at the start, but the audience unite against the gig. Yeah. It comes at them or us. It comes at them and us thing right from the off, and they are united against the gig, and then they become sort of determined to defeat the comedians in a way. Totally. It's a weird psychology, but it does occasionally happen, and I have seen it. And they kind of wreck the night and then get very annoyed. As well.
Even if you win, isn't it?
I mean, there is a certain kind of death where the better you do, the more they resent you. You ever had that where you kind of, and then you go, "All right, I see what you're doing. You're actually working against me. You don't want me to do well."
So as you said, when the audience moves, like you can control them. You move one way, like you're like the lead fish in a shoal of fish, isn't it? That's what it's like. Yeah,
but I think if they've united against the gig, something. Comedians have handled it wrong in some way. Get them out there. But sometimes by then, it's every time you get on stage, sometimes it's set in a particular way. Yeah, I had a gig recently where I followed a couple of acts that hadn't done very well, and I thought this is going to be easy, and it wasn't. It was the opposite, because sometimes when it's the acts aren't as good, it's sort of lowered the bar, and it's actually it's easier to be good. But then this actually, I think they'd lost faith in the.
On their own night.
Yeah. I'm not part of that. I'm different.
Don't make that sense.
Them. I'm not them. This is me now. Let's just pretend that none of this has happened.
Yeah. Let's just put a pin in that, okay?
This is like rein your emotions in and like.
What's been like the highlight of the worst reel like of gigs that you've done? Like, I mean, not for you performance wise, but it was fucking this shit went off one day, and I didn't expect to see that.
So many.
Oh yeah.
Do you mean bad gigs or weird or what?
Weird, like or like or why not a mix? What do you got? What's the worst gig? Like for just bad.
I suppose if you get booed off, that's pretty bad, and you can get to that point of occasionally where you can get that. You can go down that badly. I mean, it's happened a few times. I think once at the notorious. What was a gig in Newcastle that used to be? There was a gig in Newcastle that got notorious for being. Kind of quite rough at one point. Anyway, there was that gig. There was. I remember getting booed off at Up the Creek once. But I think the ultimate was when I was comparing a gig, which was Bug Jam. It was for Volkswagen Beetle people. Yeah. So it was like a tent full of about 1,000 petrol heads. Yeah. And there was a massive crush area between the stage and the front row. It was massive. They were very. It wasn't ideal a setting for comedy. I kept saying to the promoter, "Are you sure? I don't think I'll be right for this." He went, No, it's good, because the first section was fine, and then they just turned against me in the second bit, and they were booing me off, and they didn't realise that I was there for the duration. I'm like, I'm hosting, you can fucking boo me, but I'm going to keep coming up. I mean, the show was about 2.5 hours or something. I mean, it wasn't an interval, and at the end, and they just all sat there. nobody left. It was like a Stockholm syndrome. I think they got to the point of they kind of bonded with me by that stage. It become so extreme because once you boo somebody off and then they don't go, what can you do? Unless you get violent, you've kind of hit your max, and then what? And that became interesting. I think I could have turned that gig around, given another 2 hours. I think they could have actually...
Is there anything other like kind of weird stuff that's happened in the beginning, or like fucking mental shit like?
I mean, you occasionally get fights in the audience. Which, I've had a guy punch his girlfriend or whatever in the front row. Kind of difficult to deal with. You can't really ignore it, but it sort of creates a bad atmosphere.
Yeah, that's a difficult one to.
And it's sort of, I think in a way, if you're on stage and something like that happens, it's sort of happened on your watch. It's sort of. I've had a few fights over the years, but I don't think it's anything to do with the gig. I think it's just a couple having a row or something and that sort of thing on stage. I remember doing a gig and behind the stage was a wine cellar because it was in the basement of this restaurant. I remember the waiter coming on when I was on stage, coming in, going on stage and going behind the stage and getting all these bottles of wine and coming out and just being kind of oblivious to it. It wasn't like didn't realise you should wait until. So I had sort of just odd stuff like that. But I can't think of anything for a while that's been really crazy. I don't know if I just filter it out now or.
You just come back from Asia?
Yeah, I did the Asia comedy tour. Yeah,
was it fun?
It was great. Yeah. I mean, it was. I've been to some countries before, like Vietnam, Singapore, but I haven't been to China. I've been to Shanghai. It's really good. I mean, there's a nascent comedy scene in a lot of these countries now. There's a lot of English-speaking comedy starting up, and hopefully it will grow and become like a. It's like the wine's all moved to the New World now, isn't it? Like New Zealand wine. Hopefully we will. We'll be getting all our work over there now, and then as the UK comedy scene withers and dies.
Fine.
It's just like down to one club again in London. It's just like the Comedy Store, and the rest have all closed. Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting if people play, particularly a lot of people that are foreign nationals or English as a second language. You think what's universal, and is finding that what works internationally is really good experiment, and trying to get that connect with the audience, which you always have, but when it's abroad, it's that extra level of. It's like a Rubik's cube with like an extra few sides. 8 sides or something. It's like that chess that they play in Star Trek. That's
yeah. Like, with Whoopi Goldberg and when Picard would always go in, like, what? Oh, that's mad. That's that 4 or 5 tiered thing.
Is that an actual game now, or
I think it is. I think that's an actual game. Yeah.
Is normal chess not difficult enough? Like
that's true. That's what you play on many different levels.
Yeah.
So did you write specifically for Asia, or before you went out there, or did you take the old set and just recalibrate it?
I've got that much now from all those shows I've done. That you just kind of have a big list of stuff. You can start going right. There's certain stuff you'd go at. That's references they're not going to get, or in terms of social attitudes is maybe not going to get, or so you come up with a list of what they might. I think you just over prepare so that you've got more than you need in case you switch. But you sort of find it on stage. I mean, it's slightly more challenging to get that consistent thing. I think sometimes if you're in the UK, once you've got the audience, you've got them, and they're with you. But they were sometimes a bit more like you got them and then you don't, but then you got them again. And then there's the funniest thing was I did this. I used to do quite a bit of stuff about snooker, but I had this routine on my show this year about all the different ways you can waste your time in life, and one of them is when I went to watch the snooker in Sheffield, and I was just going about what a waste of time it was, and I could have watched it on TV and stuff, and this Chinese guy came up to the end looking really crestfallen, going, "Why did you criticise snooker?" Like he was like, because there's quite a lot of Chinese people into snooker in a big way. Like, I mean, if you play pool with them, they're watching snooker on their phone while playing pool with you. You never know though what they're going to like and not like.
Yeah.
A teacher of mine at school once said to me, "The thing is, Stephen, everyone's all the same and they're all different," and that is actually the struggle with stand-up, isn't it? It's to find that thing that people will connect with, but also is unique enough that not everyone's saying it.
That's true.
And if you can fix, if you can work that out, it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to run a comedy course, and that's all I'm going to tell people.
Just keep repeating that.
All you need to do is do something that nobody else has done before, but everyone will instinctively get in all cultures and languages. Goodbye. That'll be £100, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's your career. Your worldwide international comedy career is sorted. What else are you working on now? Do you just comedy, or do you do any little bit of other bits of acting here, or are you looking to do any other TV stuff? Because I know you did the alternative comedy experience.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment I'm kind of planning to record a DVD, so I'm sort of organising that at the moment and sort of scouting for venues and sorting out people that will film it and stuff. But I'm also kind of into writing at the moment. I think because I've been on tour, I want to get back into writing and writing some come up with some sitcom ideas and drama as well. I want to become a Netflix billionaire.
Yeah.
I just want to have The Wire or something. Stephen Carlin's The Wire. Something, not The Wire, but like that.
Yeah, cool.
Whatever the thing is now. Yeah. Stephen the Vampire Slayer. But whatever, I'd quite like to have something that's lasting. You know what I mean? Like, stand-up's great, but it's gone in the moment. It's like it's smoke up a chimney.
Yeah.
Even the best gigs are just, you had to have been there, and most of you weren't. Most of you were not there. And even if you video it, it's not quite the same. But I think I'd like some narrative piece, not necessarily comedy, possibly, but also drama, comedy drama, dramedy comma, dramedy.
Crama?
There's dramedy and there's also comedy drama, and I don't know what the difference is. There just isn't there?
Yeah. Do you write every day?
Not every day. I try to, but I don't think I write every day. But I maybe write like 5 days a week or something.
Yeah. And is it like, do you have to do it before you like before the tea, or just like get the pot of tea, this pot of tea here?
No, there's nothing happens before I get caffeine in my system. I mean, I am genuinely addicted to caffeine. I mean, if I don't have caffeine in the morning, I will have a headache, and I won't be able to think. So I think I'm pretty addicted. But I mean, I've been drinking tea since I was 2-3 or something. I mean, I've been drinking every day of my life. I've never not had caffeine. I mean, I just...
So then you have pot of tea then, and then start writing, or just what do you do? Do you have to trick yourself?
Yeah, I think, the thing is, if I sat and went, I've got a whole day to write, I just waste it. So I can't think of it like that. I have to go, right, just do half an hour writing, Steve. Just that's what you need to do. And I think if I do that, you usually get you do an hour or 2 hours. But it's just more of just going, just do a bit now, rather than you have to do it all day.
That's it, bit by bit, huh?
Yeah.
Incremental, rather than just like days of just, oh fuck, I've got all this shit I need to get in order, and then you just start to hate it.
Fatal, I think. It becomes a chore then. I think. I just do little bite sizes all the time. Don't know. Maybe some people blitz it, and that's the way to do it as well. I'd love to get in the zone, but I've never really got in the zone for that long. I mean, if I can get 2 hours done, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, some people, can they write 8 hours? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they no. I think.
What about these Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald and all these people that were just massive drinkers, and is the secret to just sort of get 1,000 words done by lunchtime and then get hammered? I don't know.
Yeah, you're not going to drive to a gig. Where can we find you, Stephen?
What, comedy-wise?
Yeah, like you online and all that sort of stuff.
I've got my website. It's thestephencarlin.com. I've got clips on YouTube as well, and the gig list will be up on my website.
Yeah.
I've got my Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'm really with it, like I'm really...
Yeah. Instagram and shit as well. You got the
I'm not on Instagram, no.
No, just not into not.
I'm not any social media at all. If I could get away with not doing it, I wouldn't do it at all. But I think,
Same. If I could, I'd be the same. Just trying to. If I could create a program that could just go onto Facebook, and then strip all of the comedy contacts from it into a fucking Excel document, which I could then use, I would script that and fucking sell that fucker, and then it would just fund me to do everything else. Because I think that would be a great program to have, wouldn't it? Like just a little script, go, okay, but I want all the everything from Facebook like that, and then into an Excel. I think that's a good idea. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be handy? Do you think? I think just, okay, there's the name of that person. Yeah, fine. There's the fucking email address.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
I enjoyed it, man. But have you got any big gig coming up apart from your DVD, or is that should be on the website and all that?
Well, that'll be on the website nearer the time once I get it recorded and stuff.
Do you know the name of your album yet?
No, I don't.
Shafting around ideas yet?
I don't even know what's going to be in it. I need to think what material I'm going to include and what I'm not going to include. So I've got no idea what is going to make the final draft. Yeah, so
right. Or just maybe the final draft. That's massively pretentious, isn't it? Though.
Blithering scum.
Well, Steve, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Man. It was great.
You're welcome.
And that was episode 65 of the Comedy Defect podcast. Hope you enjoyed that one. That was with a very funny comedian, Stephen Carlin. He's brilliant. If you ever see him on a bill somewhere, make sure you get yourself a ticket because he is just such a great comedian. He is so inventive. He's probably written another 2 shows since this has been released. So yeah, Stephen Carlin, go check his website out, see where his live dates are. Get yourself a ticket, get your ass down that venue. Very funny man. If you like this podcast, you can review us. Go to iTunes or Podbean. And if you didn't like it, that's fine. Just you can just listen to another podcast. You don't have to take the time to give us a negative review. We haven't done anything to you. You just have to. You have the choice. You can stop listening. That's fine. I'm going to still do it. I enjoy doing it. Now I've got the time. So, or you could buy me a pint, or whenever you see me, you could give me a $5, or whatever the price of a pint is in that area. It doesn't have to be a $5. A couple of quid is nice. It's happened a few times. People have come up to me and put money in my hand, and it's nice. I've paid for new sound equipment, all the stuff I've been selling around the place. And I'm not talking about drugs, trying to just downsize everything. I've been putting towards the sound equipment and just to give it a little bit of a nicer feel to the podcast. I hope you like it. Let me know if you do. If you want to donate, you can go to Patreon at the Comedy Defect Podcast. That's the Patreon. You could donate as little or as much as you want if you feel like it. If not, I'm still going to do it. It's fine. That's this week's podcast. Stephen Carlin. Go find him on Facebook, like his page. Go and see him live. He's a brilliant comedian. You can follow this podcast on Twitter. We're on Twitter at The Comedy Defect. We're on Facebook. Go like the page. You can like my page, which is at Winter Dominus now. You can message me. I will answer pretty quickly. If you want to message me about the podcast, or you'd like to come on, or suggest people that you think I should interview, you can message me at a Gmail account, which is thecomedydefect@gmail.com. That's thecomedydefect@gmail.com. And that's it for this week's podcast. That was episode 65 with a brilliant Stephen Carlin. Review us, like us, follow us, do all that kind of stuff. Next month, we've got another comedian, very funny, Lynn Ruth Miller. Such a joy to talk to her. That is for October's podcast, the last Wednesday of the month. We're back in business, guys. We'll see you for episode 66 with Lynn Ruth Miller.